Okay. Yes. Never know with this system. My camera's just a little bit off. There we go. Get us as straight as can be. That looks much better. Good deal. A little drink of water. Before I go too far. And hey, welcome. Welcome to the March Masterclass Live. Sorry, just noticed I got chalk ink all over my hands. The Masterclass Live, where we're going to talk about recruiting and finding talent. Unless you plan on being a solo in your business for the entire life of your business, you're going to be doing this. And it can make or break your business. You can get the right Bubba on your team that's just crushing it for you. And your business blows up because that was just the perfect fit. Or you can get the wrong Bubba on your team and he can be a cancer to your team. That one person, I've seen it, can destroy an organization. So it's important that we start at the very beginning and make sure that we hire the right people and we attract the right people into our team. And you know what? It all goes back to the fundamental thing that I always talk about. Leadership starts with yourself. And if you are not clear on your purpose and your values and your organization, then you know what? You're not gonna have the right people. You're not going to attract the right people. You're not going to repel the right people. So if you don't have clarity, watch out for the cords, Otis. Clarity in your purpose, vision, and values, you won't find the right people. Yeah, sure. A blind squirrel finds a nut every once in a while. But you know what? If you want to be intentional and intentionally successful, as opposed to just throwing spaghetti noodles up on the wall and seeing what sticks, you got to have clarity in this. And these, whether you have clarity or not in these, guess what else you have? You have this, let me get a different color pen here. You have this magical word, culture. And when you have clarity in these, purpose, vision, values, then those things add up to culture. That's how you get a culture. That's how you have an intentional culture, really. Because guess what, folks? You got culture. A culture exists in your organization. If there is more than one person in your organization, you have a culture. And the culture of the organization is what drives the success of the organization. I can't remember who it was. I feel like it might have been a Simon Sinek thing, but somebody said, culture eats strategy for breakfast. Culture will provide you the right people or the wrong people. Because if you don't have a culture that you control, that you're intentional about, you'll repel the people you want and need. And you'll attract the ones you don't. Because guess what? This is how everything is done. This is the foundation, purpose, vision, values. That's the foundation that creates this. But if you don't have these three things, this is still there. You just don't know what the hell it is. You've lost control. You're just wandering around in the woods, and occasionally you bump into a tree, and then you bump into another one because you're not in control. You don't understand what your culture is. So that's step one. In order to recruit the right people, to find the right talent in your organization, it starts with this, the culture. Because the culture is going to pull people in and repel them. So one of the things that I teach guys, and one of my give backs to the veteran tribe is coaching guys as they take the uniform off. Most of them retiring with 20 to 30 years of service. One of the things I teach them about is they have to understand what their personal values are, because their personal values should align with the organization's values. And if their personal values do not align with the organization's values, they will never be satisfied, they'll never be happy, and they'll never be fulfilled in that organization. Sure, they'll work hard because that's what good soldiers do. They will bust their butt, but they will dread it every moment of every day because they don't have clarity. I'll turn around this way. They don't have clarity in their values, or just as bad, hey, Mr. Business Owner, you don't have clarity in your values, which means you don't have an intentional culture. You just have a mob of people that get things done, but not as a team. You're paying a bunch of people to get things done, but you don't have a team that will make you successful because you've lost control of culture, because you've never defined your purpose, vision, and values for yourself and your organization. It's so critical. I talk about this all the time. It doesn't, maybe one of these days, some folks out there who really need to hear this will hear this and do this and create and establish and have clarity in it. Because it's not just, when I'm trying to hire somebody, it's not just about putting a job description out there, a JD out there on LinkedIn, Indeed, whatever, my company website. It's not that. That's important, right? Because we got to understand what role we're trying to fill. But if we don't know these things, we're never going to get the person that we want, that we really need. Because it starts with you. You have to understand who you are, business owner, leader, hiring manager, however you want to put it. Because hiring people is expensive. They cost money. Because guess what? When you're sitting there working on putting together a JD, you are reviewing resumes that come in, and then you are sitting there doing the interviews. That's time. Time is money. This stuff, the right guy just doesn't walk in the door. You've got to attract them. That's what you have to do, is attract the right guy. And you attract them by being clear and defining those three things. Now, here's the other piece of this. As the business owner, as the leader, don't hire in desperation. Hiring in desperation means, oh crap, we're growing. Oh crap, we won this contract. Oh crap, Johnny quit. We'll talk about that in a minute. It's projecting. As the leader, you should have an understanding of where you are today in the business. What does it look like right now? What is projected to happen? What I tell my clients that I work with is, if you're going to hire somebody, you need to know who that person is 1 year from the time you hire them. Because when we know what that person is, who that person is, what their skills are, what's their nature, who are they like, how do they fit in, where would they go in the organization? And guess what? As I'm walking around, going to a happy hour, a networking event, conference, I'm talking to people. And when I'm talking to people, I'm hearing solutions to fill that gap in the future. So if you can sit here today and say, in March of 26, I need to hire an executive vice president. I need to hire a director of operations. I need to hire a new recruiting manager, an HR manager. If you do that today and you start to work on the job description today, and you know, back to purpose, vision, and values, you know those things for the cultural fit, and what are those intangibles you need that person to have? This is hard work. Because I challenge you not to just put it up here, put it down on paper. You don't have to publicly release this job description a year out. Don't do that. But you need, as the leader, you need to be thinking a year out. These are the type of people I'm going to be hiring over the next 12 months. Because if you get to that point of desperation, you're just looking to fill a gap. That's not where you want to be. Because desperation attracts desperate people. You want somebody who's confident, knows what they're doing, aligns with the purpose, vision, and values of the organization. Because then they will like working there. They will love working there. They will love being part of that team, and you will love having them part of your team. But if you don't do that, it's going to be a struggle for them. It's going to be a struggle for you. One other piece, speaking of you, every person in your business, in your team, represents you, Mr. Director, Mr. Manager, Mr. CEO. Everybody in that organization represents you. They represent you when they go back home. They represent you when they go to the store. They represent you when they go to a conference. So don't you want somebody who believes in the purpose and the vision and values align with your values? I do. I don't want somebody that doesn't align with me going out and representing me, whether intentionally or unintentionally. Because guess what? What do people ask? Oh, where do you work? Well, I work for Acme Bricks. Oh, yeah, I work for this piece of crap organization around the corner called Acme Bricks. I don't want that guy representing Tribe and Purpose. I don't want that guy representing Otis McGregor. That's wrong. That is not who I need or want in my organization. I don't care how desperate I am to get the job done. I want the right people. Jim Collins said in his book, Good to Great, everybody's heard this. If you haven't, pick the book up, read it. And he said, you got to get the right people on the right bus and then put them in the right seat. Because you know what? Baseball's starting here next week. That's America's pastime, folks. I can't have 9 second basemen out there on the field. It doesn't work that way. I'm not talking about putting them all on second base. I'm talking about guys who specialize in being second baseman. Maybe I can move them over to shortstop. Maybe I've seen some guys in the infield get converted occasionally. Some of them are successful. Some of them turn out better. Back to the right bus, right seat. But I can't have 9 second basemen out there playing and expect to win a game. I've got to get all 9 positions filled with positional skilled people, just like your team, just like your business. You cannot fill your business full of second basemen. You got to spread it out. You got to have a first baseman, shortstop, a pitcher. You got to have a right field, left field, center field. You got to do that. You got to do it. I don't care how much you love Second baseman number 3, 4, and 5. How great of second baseman you may think they are. You only need one second baseman. Maybe you can try one of those second basemen at another position because they are a good fit. And that's something to consider, because you also need to consider how they fit in to your team and how they contribute, how they can support the growth and success of the business. Without that, we're again just tossing it up in the air. Nobody wins that way, man. Again, you can get lucky because a blind squirrel finds a nut every once in a while. Or, do you like this one better? A broke clock, except a face clock. A broke clock is right twice a day. So, yeah, it can happen. But I'm telling you, if you want to be intentional with your success, you have to know your purpose, vision, values. You have to identify far enough out to hire somebody with intention instead of desperation jumping towards it. And then you got to understand what you're looking for. So the process, we're going to spend some time developing a job description. And a job description, well, what's the responsibilities of that person? What do you want them to do? How do you want them to support the success of the organization? What is their contribution to the success of the organization? Then you're going to add in the skills. Now, ideally, adding in those skills will help to filter out people. If you have some specialized skills like some computer certifications or other certifications that you may have required to fill that position, you're going to want those in the JD. And hopefully they're going to filter out people. Now, there's always people who are going to submit stuff, and you're going to read their resume, and they're not going to have the qualifications that you want. Then you get to make the decision. Well, do I want that person? And am I willing to train them? Or do I want to spend some more time looking for the right person? You, as the leader, have to decide that. There's no go-between. You've got to say that, hey, this is what I need. This is what I'm willing to do. You are such a good fit to this organization that I am willing to train you into this organization and have you trained in the way of this organization because you happen to have bought into our purpose, believe in the vision, and align with our values. And you're a great fit for our culture. Otherwise, you're risking it. I've seen so many businesses out there that spend a lot of money recruiting, hiring recruiters, hiring headhunters, and ended up with the wrong person because they didn't put the effort in early enough to do and align with the person and ensure that they are the right fit. Just checking my notes. My electronic notes are being too helpful for me right now. There we go. So let's talk about this. Matter of fact, let me write these down. So you got to have clarity here. Okay, that's number one. Oops, wrong color pen, sorry. Number two, and I started talking about this, it's the JD that IDs the skills. And duties and responsibilities of the position. And we'll abbreviate that with DNR, duties and responsibilities. Once you hire the person, then you're going to set them up. We can talk about that another time. Give me a call. We're going to set them up for success by helping them understand what they need to do to be successful and providing them the training to be successful. Now, this next one, number 3, on these 3 things, the 3 things that you need to recruit and find talent. Number 3, this is the hardest one. This one takes a lot of thinking and a lot of effort, because what you're going to do here, you have to figure out, are they the right fit? That's hard. Because what are you going to do? Ask them? You're going to show them an eye chart of the values of the organization. Here's our purpose. Here's my vision. And ask them, hey guys, what do you think? Do you think this is good? Do you believe in this? Well, what the hell do you think they're going to say? No. They're going to say yes, whether they do or they don't. They're going to say yes because they want the freaking job. They wouldn't have ever put their resume in if they didn't want the damn job. This is the most critical piece. How do you know they're the right fit? Well, some organizations use personality tests. Okay, yeah, it's a method. I don't think it's the best method. What you got to do is you got to be smarter than the average bear. You've got to ask them questions during the interview. You've got to maybe even do multiple interviews. Maybe there's a quick screening one over the phone. Maybe there's a junior manager interview. Maybe there's a senior or VP interview. And then maybe there's a CEO interview. All these are methods. I think some of my buddy Scott Kinder, and I know he went through a process with Ramsey International, Ramsey Solutions, Dave Ramsey's company. I don't remember how many interviews it was, but it was at least 10. And I have another client, in his current role, he said he did 17 interviews before he was hired. And he said before they hired him, he was like, God, this is stupid. God, this is a pain. But he's been with them for a few years now. And he looks back on that and says, you know what? They put the effort in to make sure that he was the right fit for them, and they were the right fit for him, because it's a two-way street. So how do you do that? You got to ask them questions. You got to ask them questions that are within the parameters of HR policy and not being nosy and violating employee confidentiality and all these sort of things. Yeah. Okay, that's why I said this is an art. And it's a very difficult art, because you ain't going to get it right the first time. You're going to have to learn. And you're going to go through this hiring process. And, it just flashed me back to Special Forces selection. You before you go to the selection and assessment, you do some questionnaires. So there's a few people that get weeded out from that. And you show up for Special Forces Selection and Assessment, SFAS. And not only are you tested physically, how far can you ruck, or how quickly can you ruck, and can you land nav, and can you think under stress? Think under stress. Whoa. Now we're getting into this right here, aren't we? Now, if you're a company that has designed a Special Forces-like assessment and selection as part of your hiring process, I'd love to learn about it. There's some value to that. But thank you, Mr. Cuckoo. It's the right fit. What are the questions? How do I understand that person? How he thinks, what he does, what's his values? Because I can't ask him, hey, dude, what are your values? Duty on our country. Okay. We've got to talk to him. We've got to understand him. We got to be willing to say, as a hiring manager many times over, we got to be willing to say, hey, man, you had the skills that we need, but it's just not the right fit. I'm sorry. And what I got back many times, What do you mean not the right fit? I say, well, our organization is this way. You're this way. There are organizations out there that are a perfect fit for you, but our organization is not. You got to be willing to do that. You're the leader. You're the one in charge. Because if you hire the wrong person, man, I'll share with you one of my favorite little stories about hiring the right person, the right fit for your organization. So Bo Schembechler, former University of Michigan football coach in the heyday of Big Blue, right? It was recruiting season. And there's this blue chipper from Ohio, running back. Came and visited the school, and there's all this pomp and circumstance about what a great athlete he is and how awesome it's going to be to have him in Michigan. And Coach Schembechler said, no thanks. So this is back when recruiting season was a very short time period too. So the reporter asked him, hey, Coach, why'd you let that blue chipper go? Coach looked at the reporter and said, if that young man was on our team, he would beat us every single day. If he's playing for Ohio State, he can only beat us once a year. Wow. It can't get more real than that. Talk about leadership. Talk about making a decision. Talk about understanding your purpose, vision, and values, and the culture of your organization. Man, I can go down a list of sports teams and businesses that fail because they think that guy is a rock star. And because he's a rock star, he should be on our team. Let me tell you what. If you're a country music singer, you don't need a rock star. You need a country music singer. If you're a sales team, if you're a widget builder, you don't need a interior designer on your team. I don't care how freaking great they are. You need the right fit. And in order to have the right fit, you, Mr. CEO, boss, have to know who you are and be willing to stand up for who you are, your values, your life purpose, which aligns with your business purpose, and what's the vision. And if you're a CEO and you're not clear on that, we at Tribe and Purpose have a tool that'll help you. We have a leadership development program that will help you succeed. That will help you get clarity in your purpose, create your vision, and understand what your values are so that you can hire the right dude in your culture and be intentional in your culture. And that program is called the Green Beret Leadership Program. It consists or is origin from 25 years as a Green Beret, leading men of all cultures and languages all around the world. And 15 years of business and leading business teams in large organizations, small startup businesses, being an entrepreneur myself in multiple businesses, startup, product, services, and creating this program that will help you become successful, will help you become a great leader. Because we at Tribe and Purpose, that's what we do. Our purpose is to create a legacy of great leaders. Our purpose is that, and that's it. And if you want to help us fulfill our purpose in becoming a great leader and making the world better by creating great leaders around the world, then go to 10xyourteam.net. That's the number 10, 10, the letter X. Your, Y-O-U-R, team, T-E-A-M, .net, like a fishing net. Click on that. right there in the middle. It's the Greenberry Leadership Program. Click on that, schedule a call with me in Camden, and we'll get you set up. We'll get your team set up. Because, man, I can tell you this. Been there, done that many times. I've led followers who do great work and do exactly what I tell them to do. And I've led leaders. And when I lead leaders, look out. A team of leaders is unstoppable. A team of leaders does not bring you problems. They bring you solutions because they fix things. Because they're leading themselves through action to solve the problem. So go to 10xyourteam.net. Sign up for the Greenberry Leadership Program. Hey, and you know what? I'll be right back here next month. I don't remember what my program is next month. You give me, those of you who are still with us, give me about 30 seconds, maybe. Yes, I found the right document. Next month, oh yes. It might be a little bit longer than a half hour next month because we're going to talk about leadership versus management. Man, that's a great subject, Gary. Thank you, Camden, for putting that one on the list because that's a good one. Leadership versus management. So look for that towards the end of April. Be right back here. If you're on our YouTube channel, heck, if you're on any of the other channels that you're watching this, go to our YouTube channel. Subscribe. Hit the subscribe button. You'll get notifications when I go live next month in April. Or if I happen to do a Whiskey Words Live or some other thing live just on a whim, you'll get a notification. That's 10X Your Team with Cam and Otis on YouTube. Or go to 10xyourteam.net. Join our tribe to create a legacy of leaders. Thanks for joining us today. We'll see you in April.